Hi there, how's everybody? Great to be back in Athlone. Can you hear me at the back? Are you sure? Are you able to hear me at the back? Are you really able to hear me at the back? Okay, let's begin our story, because this is where our story begins. Lough Ree, Ireland's second largest lake. This is a story of a community that worked together to try and take the dis out of disability, and it began on this marvellous lake. We all know it in this part of the world. Divides Longford Westmeath to one side to the east, Roscommon to the west. Brendan Shine even wrote a song about it, remember it? Lough Ree, oh Lough Ree. I'm not going to sing it, relax. But it is an important part of the world, and for years it's been an important asset to our community. It's been good for boating, for water sports. We've all loved it, we've all enjoyed it. And they've come from all over the world. Germany, Holland, England, every year. As a young person, I met thousands of people every year. And this is one of the reasons why they came. Fish, fish. The secret sales area of our lake. The bream, the roach, the pike. Every year they came. Every year they came to my community at the top of the lake at Lanesborough and Ballyleague, and we got to know them. They were an important part of society. They were an important part of the economics of where we were. And you know, after a while, we began to make it easier for them to come. We did more B&Bs. We extended the word of welcome. We opened a new angling hub so we could bring them along and support us in terms of what we were doing. In my childhood, I remember the place was absolutely full every summer. It was brilliant. Here's another person I wanted to talk to you about today. This is Dorothy Coyle. Dorothy was born in 1970. She has spina bifida and she uses a wheelchair. But she's always been a goer. She's always been a person who's never let her disability get in the way of what she was doing. Even before she was 12, she was on the 103rd floor of the Twin Towers in New York. A brilliant swimmer. She's won several awards, several medals in community games. She has her own driving license. But you know one thing she couldn't do? She couldn't fish on our lake, on Lough Ree, because this is the traditional lake boat we've had for decades and generations. Have a look. How easy would it be to get a wheelchair on this boat? That was our problem. That was the disability issue for Dorothy. Dorothy wasn't the problem. The boat was the problem. That was the issue that we faced. And around about 2016, a group of us in the community in Lanesborough came together, and we were inspired by Dorothy's situation to want to go out and fish on the lake and be with the others. And we got in there, we said, let's work on this problem. Let's look at examining a big idea. We called it Lough Ree Access for All. Not access for some to go on the lake, not access for just some people, access for all, access for everybody. We needed to look carefully at the design of the boat. We needed to talk to people like Dorothy. We needed to talk to people all over the country. What type of boat was required? Where would we build it? How would it work? How might it work? And we did. We looked at a model of a boat which would work a bit like a small car ferry. Think of the car ferry with the bow going down for your car, only this time, Dorothy in a wheelchair can roll on and roll off. That was the idea we had, but it wasn't easy to put it together. At the time in Ireland, nobody was manufacturing this. Nobody at all. We searched up and down the country. Eventually, we found a company on the other side of Europe, in Estonia, in a place called Ciaran Island. We went there to look at the design necessary to build a boat like this. A boat which was going to become a tourism hit. Here it is. This is the boat that was made in Estonia and brought to Lough Ree and hit the water a little bit after COVID finished, hit the water for the first time. And boy, has it been a tourism hit. Every day this boat is on the water. They come from all over the country. Cork, Donegal, UK, across Europe, they've been here all the time. And now they're all able to go on fishing on the lake. And you know what? We're enjoying it. We've won a few awards along the way. Thanks to Dorothy and others, we've been successful in the National Lottery Causes Award, a Great Causes Award every year. In fact, Dorothy's now a superstar. You may have seen her on TV, on the National Lottery ad. And we've enjoyed every bit of it, because it's been important to focus it. But we went even further than that. If you come from Donegal or come from Cork at the end of the day, we said you need a proper place to prepare for your boat trip. So we created the Lough Ree Access for All Centre. This is the National Centre where you can come. We have a changing places suite inside. An up-to-date, state-of-the-art facility for you or your carer to be looked after during that day. That cost €500,000. It was paid for, or part of it was paid for, by the EU Just Transition Fund. The boat itself cost €173,000. It wasn't cheap, I can tell you that. We got our leader grant, about $135,000. We applied to the National Lottery. It worked. We got $45,000. And we were stuck for the last part, about 18, 19, 20 grand. We did some really silly things. You see this here? Once it was pink. In fact, the head was shaved. It wasn't pretty. We all did it, and we raised the money, and we got it together, because the community came together to put the facilities in place that we needed. And then the people came. The boat arrived, and the people came, in their numbers. People who had never been out on the water before. Young people, old people, people with physical disabilities, people with intellectual disabilities. It was a revolutionary time for us. The first social enterprise in Ireland that was providing this service, and boy, did people respond to it. Some of the people involved said to us they had never had an experience like it. Some just went for the spin on the lake. Some went fishing. But they all came back with the message at the end of the day that not only did they feel independence and rolling on or rolling off on our boat, they also felt, for the first time, they were integrated into our community. For the first time, they weren't left on the riverbank. Nobody said wave goodbye when the lake boat was leaving. They were first on the boat this time. Integration, not just tokenism, real integration. That's what it was about. And we looked after people and have been doing so. Dorothy's been enjoying it all. She's been promoting this now. She's our ambassador. She goes all over the country and abroad. And of course, she says at the end of the day, this is just the beginning. She wants to see more. So what have we done in the last couple of years? We're working again. Now, for the first time, there's a sensory area at the Lough Ree Access for All. A special sensory area, which is there to support people before the boat trip and after the boat trip. And they've gone even further, even better now. Because if you're on a lake like Lough Ree, some of you know, not that easy to get onto an island. Able-bodied or disabled, you can't get onto the island. So what have Dorothy and the team done now? They've decided for the first time we're going to have virtual reality. So you put your headset on when you're leaving, and you can see the island of Inchclare. You can see the ruins of the 7 churches in front of you. What's something that wasn't possible previously is now possible. Ladies and gentlemen, the moral of this story is very straightforward. Accessibility must be a habit, not a virtue. Society must stand up at the end of the day and say, what role can I play? Or better still, what role are we able to play? Are you able to help us? Can you help us going forward? It doesn't have to be a boat. It could be access to a job. Is there somebody with a disability that's been turned down in a position because they're not able to do it? Is there somebody who requires your help or your assistance? Is there somebody in your life who wants to work in a different career, who wants to drive a car, who wants to be in a different position, who wants to be doing something in society that up to now has been turned down? Turned down because we, in general society, didn't come forward and do as much as we can. Ladies and gentlemen, tonight I'm privileged to be on the stage with so many distinguished speakers. It's been fantastic. But before I go, I want you to pay tribute to one person who's going to give us a wave. Ladies and gentlemen, Dorothy Coyle. And that's our story. Remember, at the end of the day, this is about you being able to help others. Thank you very much.